Welcome to the Own It Powercast, the place to be when you get serious about making big changes and accelerating growth in your life and in your relationships. Finally create the life you've always wanted, living life on your own terms. Learn how to take your fear and turn it into powerful choices that will create sustained change. Now your host, Mary Baker.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own It Powercast, a place where you can come to get what you need to move yourself forward. Hey, it's Mary Baker and welcome to episode 129, The Power of Dancing It Out for Self-Care, my interview with Joseph Corella. So I'm really excited because this week you're going to hear my conversation with Joseph Corella. Joseph is a choreographer, a Broadway performer, a dance teacher, and a fitness instructor. But at his core, Joseph is a teacher, and he definitely has the heart of a teacher. Using his dance, theater, and fitness background, Joseph has traveled the globe, spreading his love and understanding of the importance of movement. His connection to movement started in his early childhood with extensive training in jazz, tap, contemporary, and ballet. At 13, he became a member of famed choreographer Marguerite Derricks' prestigious dance company, Tremaine Teen Company, and shortly thereafter appeared in Disney's Geppetto alongside pop superstar Usher. And he's done so much more. He moved to New York City and debuted on Broadway in All Shook Up, and then toured the U.S. with productions of Grease and West Side Story. As a choreographer, Joseph has been asked to choreograph on a number of high-profile projects, such as the hit Lifetime reality show Dance Moms, along with others. But he says his proudest accomplishment is really creating his 5-6-7 Broadway, which is an all-levels dance fitness class. And this was born out of Joseph's desire to create, encourage, and provide an inclusive sense of community where everyone could have a safe base to dance and start their own fitness journeys. 5-6-7 Broadway is a fun dance fitness experience that fuses the magic of Broadway with cardio and strength training to give you a full body workout. And boy, does it. It features hit songs such as One from A Chorus Line, Born to Hand Jive from Grease, Bend and Snap from Legally Blonde, and You Can't Stop the Beat from Hairspray. What I have found is that Joseph is a creative, warm, perceptive, talented teacher who definitely has that gift. And the proof of this is how it's hard to not feel welcome, accepted, and challenged all at the same time when you're working with him. Definitely one of his gifts. Well, let's get to our conversation about authenticity and self-care with Joseph Corella. All right. Well, thank you so much, Joseph, for agreeing to be on the show today. I'm really tickled to have you here. I like our conversations. I like how we connect. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to share about what you do with our listeners, because I think, especially this month, we're talking about self-care, and last month I talked all about how to get grounded and how to set boundaries for yourself and how we need to get in touch with who we are and get grounded in what we really think and what we feel and what we need, or we're not going to be able to take care of ourselves with other people. So welcome to the show. So I want you to share with us kind of like how it all began, how you started. What does your journey look like?
Mary, thank you, first of all, for having me on. And yes, our conversations before this, I really love it. And listening to your podcast, it is so good. And everything that you say, I was listening to that one earlier today about boundaries, like we said, and it was so good. So good. So thank you for what you do. Oh gosh. So where it all began on my journey. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. And at a young age, I knew I was gay. I wouldn't even say like the word gay. I just knew I liked guys. And it did not feel unnatural to me at all. Like one bit. The thing is I come from a very strong born-again Christian family. And this is just my journey. So I just want to state that. I knew there was a lot of things, and I went to a Christian private school. And there was just a lot of things that were telling me, don't be you. And I say that with all, like, I'm glad I can laugh about it today.
Right.
But, that's why I like having conversations like this, because it is important to talk about those things, because it was really tough for me. It was really, really tough to experience all of that. And then I started dance. And when I started dancing at a young age. So like, like 7 or 9. And I loved it. But the thing is you didn't see a lot of male dancers at that time.
Right.
And, so I just had a lot of things that were like pushing me down. The thing is I've always done since I was a kid, and I've always followed my heart. I've always listened to my heart, even when it's still. And the one thing that really helped me connect to myself when I couldn't even understand what the heck I was connecting to was dance, movement, the arts, music, movies, yes, fantasy, the kind of like the fantasy aspect of getting lost into a fantasy world, but it allowed me to express myself because I obviously had a lot going on that I needed to get out. So long story long, I continued dancing, never stopped, even though people bullied me a lot.
Wow.
And then it became, well, we love what you do now as I got older, but then it became, let me dance for you. Let me dance for you to be accepted by you. And obviously I had to work through that. And, it's still something, even as a performer, to make sure that you're dancing or whatever you're creating from your heart out and putting it out into the world. But obviously, listening, but also making sure that you connect to it first and foremost. So that's been a journey. But I wanted to be, Broadway was a dream of mine. I wound up going to New York City, and I was on Broadway, and I wanted to do national tours, and I did national tours, and I really completed some dreams that were really big for me. And I love dreaming, love dreaming. I love, and I think that's obviously the fantasy aspect too, but I also love imagining, creating, listening to my heart. And long story long again, my husband and I moved to Los Angeles for him to go to law school. And this is about a decade ago now. And that's where things really started changing. And I randomly got asked to teach dance fitness for adults. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I had no desire, honestly, at the time. But the thing is that when I did it, I fell in love. I fell in love with it so much. I fell in love with helping adults connect to movement. There was a vulnerability that I had never experienced, being honest about things about my life to people in a group class setting of saying, I went through this, and dance, it's kind of been the main mission, like when in doubt, dance it out. And here we are today. I created a dance fitness program called 567 Broadway, which is a dance fitness class to Broadway music for adults. One day there might be a kid's version of that, but this is truly for adults because I don't think adults get enough things for them, as they're like, okay, fitness, now you must push yourself this way. And there's, this is really an experience, allowing your creativity to come through, connect to music, obviously the health benefits of dance, of movement. But and then, I've created a workout video and wound up, it's just been really helpful I'm grateful to be able to help people through this pandemic as well as a teacher. And I know the teachers in my life have really helped me. And, but I know this pandemic, and I teach classes virtually, and we've really come together and really put into practice what I've put since I was a kid, which is when in doubt, dance it out, and to really continue to strive to keep moving forward. When you're feeling all those emotions, bring it to the dance floor. So that's it in a nutshell. That's kind of a long.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all that, and how powerful it is to hear you talk about following your heart, despite everything that was happening outside of you. Despite the lack of acceptance on the outside, most people cave, right? I won't say most, but a lot of people cave.
Yeah.
Because what I end up working with down the road are people hitting their 40s and have the midlife crisis and say, oh, shit, right? I didn't honor myself, so I'm going to do it now. So let me blow everything up. But that's a whole nother rabbit trail. But you did it anyway. And I just think that took tremendous courage to just be you.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. Because as I've gotten older, I've really tried to channel that courage that I had at that age. I don't know where that really came from. I look back, and sometimes I'm like, I don't have, as I get older, I'm like, I'm tired.
Right.
I'm tired of dealing with, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to push forward like this, or like, I don't want to deal. The thing is that I'm like, no, I'm really grateful that I did have that courage at a young age. I don't know. The main thing that helped me was to follow my heart. My heart would be like, you have to do this. This is what is right for you. And I could not deny that voice. Call it God, universe, whatever it is, I've really tried to listen to that. There's that connection that is far beyond this world that I do feel we're all on our journey of some way or another. And that was, for me, that was that. But yeah, it was tough. I used to get made fun of so much. Because they not only the fact that I was a male dancer,
Right.
but like that they knew I was gay too. Like they could sense it. They were like, and like they would say all these names. And especially I remember coming home one time because my private school that I went to, some girl called me fairy and I had no clue what that meant. Like, I was like, what is it? And to me, I'm like, yay, magical fairy. Like, yay. Like, what is it? But I could sense in her voice that it was not a good thing. And I remember asking my mom, and this is a whole nother subject, but I remember my mom being like, you're not that. You're not that. And the thing is, I am a magical fairy. Like, I am a beautiful, like, I've had to learn to embrace the things that people pushed on me to say, you are not good enough. And even to this day, it can be really, really tough as we go out into this world. And there's a lot of emotions right now. There's a lot of emotions out there. And really, for me, having to make sure to stay centered for myself and to try not to attach myself to everything that's going on around me so that I can do the best I can in this world.
Right. How profoundly said, because I don't think we can do what we're here to do and what we're supposed to do and what feels authentic and real and right if we're out there focused on that and them, all the nouns, right, outside of our skin. And because then that's fear-based and we're trying to control that outcome. Like, will people like it? Will they like me? Will they accept it? Will they want it? And then we lose who we are, I think.
Yeah.
And for you, like you said, it was so hard sometimes to hold on to who you were because you had to put up with a lot of rejection, a lot of shaming, a lot of, I think, more devastating than someone getting hit or physically hurt, or punished is the emotional, because that stays with you. Because what it does is it impacts our self-esteem. So especially the first 10 years of life, we take in what everybody says is gospel because we don't know any better until we start, individuating as adolescent. We're like, oh no, honey, it's not me, it's you. I'm good. But until then, all that, at least that was me, all that imprinting is there. And it was there for, I don't know, biological reasons. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist, but those neural pathways are there.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that's how we learn what is what in life.
Yep.
You're right. It can be there underneath of everything, and it can be easy to default to, oh crap, am I good enough? Can I do this? And to self-doubt.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
So tell me what made you fall in love with Broadway.
Well, as I've been having more conversations, I remembered the first time I ever really got introduced to musicals was at the private school I went to, because this teacher did an after-school musical theater program.
Oh, wow.
And I know. And this private school was so small. Let me tell you, like, there was like 10 people in each class, like 10 kids in each class. And so it was small, but like I need to really follow through because I get lots of ideas, but like, I was like, I want to find, hopefully she's still here. I would love to message her and thank her for doing that. Cause I know, she probably gave up a lot of her time, free time to do that, because I have a feeling the school was not devoting anything for that. But that's when I first got introduced to musicals there, and I wound up performing in the school musical there. They did Daniel in the Lion's Den, and I was Daniel.
Wow.
And I loved it. I felt always, it never felt wrong to me. Nothing ever, it felt like this is where I'm meant to be. Like you're meant, but the thing is, dealing with people, kids, responses, those were the things that I was like, oh, here I am following my heart. But then you get these like weird negative. But the thing is, I kept doing is just, kept going forward. And I knew that the first musical I ever saw was a touring company, like a professional one, was a touring company of Phantom of the Opera in Phoenix. And I fell in love the time the overture started, that da na 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 na, and I was like, I'm done. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And and I fell in love, and I remember listening to Phantom nonstop. Wow. And that's where I was like, I want to be on Broadway. But I also could see at a young age too, and I just want to say this here, I'm Mexican American, but the thing is that I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm American.
Right.
But I could see even with musicals that there was not a lot of diversity, or there was a lot of story. Like I could started seeing at a young age where I was like, there's not a lot of people that that look like me
Right.
in these musicals, or it's like few and far between. But I just want to state that, and it's nice to see that Broadway is really discussing these things about diversity, and it's really important to me. Yeah, and I wound up that was my goal, was to be on Broadway, and whatever I needed to do, I was going to work hard for that. The journey was crazy because I'm from the desert of 120-degree summers, and to move to the East Coast, in New York City, and the first winter that I ever had in New York City at the age of like 21, I was changed for life. I now understand why East Coast people are so different than West Coast people, or like cold climate people. There is a different personality for the sake of that cold weather, because you don't got time for you're cold and you're like, what do you need? Like, I'm cold, I don't have time for it. But I grew a lot, and New York City really was the thing that started my transformation to who I am now. Like, I was able to get away from Arizona, from my family that I needed to. Your podcast of like boundaries, I needed to get away. There was a lot of toxic things that were really happening in my life. Dealing with that and getting that space away, and such a change of life, it really started growing me in a way that I'm so grateful for. Was it easy? By no, not at all. Am I so grateful for it? Absolutely, 100%. My first, when I had my Broadway debut, it was the most terrifying thing. I had to learn the show in 6 days, and it was terrifying as a replacement. And I was terrified, but I will never forget these memories. And I'm so grateful. And that's what I feel like life is life is about those memories. I want to make as many memories as I can. Really, truly. Like I want to experience life in every possible way. And that is a memory I will always hold on to, standing in Times Square, opening night for me, terrified, being like, oh my gosh, can't believe this is happening,
Right.
So the dream comes to life in many different ways. It's not all like, oh, it's perfect and everything. I was terrified, but it was exciting.
That's amazing. You really honored yourself and followed your dream. And you're right. Getting away and getting to New York where you could just be you, because no one else there. I mean, you went to a place that is accepting, more so than a small town would be, or other parts of our country would be. And that way you could just be you.
Yeah.
And the toxicity is the lack of acceptance and the barrage of be different, be what we need you to be kind of message.
Yeah.
And for years as a therapist as well, I think the core issue oftentimes is the self is not allowed to just be the self. You had to be two people, your inner self and then your codependent false self to be what people needed. And that creates a whole host of issues, anxiety, depression, physical ailments. I mean, just all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And so I'm a big believer in environment, and you got to New York and got to the environment that could really foster your growth and really cultivate all of that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that helped me before that, and the universe was guiding me every step of the way for me, because again, I just want to state this because everybody to each their own, but at the time a little bit before I moved to New York, I was still a born again Christian. And for me, that was not settling well. However, I continued to do what everybody was pushing on me to do, but I was going to really dark places.
Oh, wow.
The things that I was denying myself,
right.
I want to state this, is like, my heart was always like, just listen to what is right. Like, what is right for you. But I didn't trust myself because everybody told me not to.
Right.
It was like, everybody was like, don't do that. And I was like, oh, and I would try. But long story long with that is I wound up doing a cruise ship with Royal Caribbean before I went to New York to save money. And I wound up getting the universe protected me and like got me on this amazing ship that was brand new.
Oh, wow.
And it helped me so much enter. I don't think I could have gone straight from Arizona to New York. The ship was a really great way to help me kind of I called it, you kind of get into the bubble It's like its own soap opera, the ship, because you're disconnected from the world completely.
Right.
Well, at least at that time, there was barely any news, any TV. It was just I called it a luxurious prison towards the end because I was like, get me off, get me off. I was 8 months on the ship. And so no porthole.
Oh, wow.
A bunk bed with one of the other dancers. And I was the top bunk bed. I was pretty close to the ceiling.
Oh,
I'm claustrophobic.
Oh,
so let me tell you.
I am
so like, I know I'm giving you it, like, imagine, but I was like, I'm going to do this, but it's helped me so much. I needed to disconnect from everything.
Yeah.
I really did listen to a lot of people prior to, well, you should, my parents, the church, other things that, and you know what? It wasn't working for me. It wasn't working for me. And it drove me to really, really dark places. Like you said, anxiety, depression, that heaviness. I would abuse alcohol and drugs. And I want to state that, like, there was things that, and I didn't want to turn to those things.
Right.
But what happened is that I was so scared and terrified, traumatized actually.
Yes.
That I was like, whatever to make me feel better, please now. And it's tough, but I'm so grateful I continue to push forward, and I'm at such different place now as I've stepped forward and stepped away from some things that were really, really toxic. And I don't, for me, there's some people that I've had to cut out to say there's been a lot of people because it wasn't working. And as I continued to grow, those relationships, like you had said, were really not, it was time to move on. It was time to move on. So.
You had to. If not, you were going to lose you completely.
And you talked about in your podcast, the grieving. I had to grieve through that. I really had to grieve the things that I thought could change that wouldn't. Well, that was no longer for me to try to make change, to make them change. And I had to grieve the fact that they weren't what I wanted it to be, or thought it should be, or thought it could be. But that grieving process is very real. So.
Very real. But running from it is why people can medicate and use and distract and all of that, because you either do that or you sit in it. And who wants to sit in it because it feels like it's going to swallow you like a giant abyss.
Mm-hmm.
And letting go of control is scary, especially because you grew up, it sounds like the messaging was all about control. I mean, religious control is a thing. Sorry, that's for me.
Yeah.
I grew up with it as well, and have done a lot of grief work over the years to find my own spirituality and to change my views of shoulds and rights and wrongs, and, how to be an individual and why that's okay. And and just the messaging of control for you, it made it harder for you to surrender to what is. Like, that person can't be what I need. And we have to lose someone when they're standing right there, which really messes with your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's been so many, but I think the thing that I've learned, and that's why when listening to your podcast about this specific topic, when you push through it and when you feel it and you feel that anger, grief, sadness, when you allow yourself to feel that, because I did grow up in a family that was like either one extreme or the other. There was really no in between. And it's kind of the in between of allowing yourself just to feel all of that. But when I got to the other side, I was like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, I'm so glad I listened to my heart and said, I need to cut this, this relationship out of my life, and I've also learned to really concentrate on for today. This is the choice. Now, I'm not going to look and say forever. I used to kind of be I'm not going to talk to this person forever. And that's my grieving process, no doubt, of like anger towards the situation. Yeah. And now I just say, okay, this is where I am today. This is where I am. Who knows what tomorrow might bring with this, and things could change. But I'm not going to concentrate. It's not for me to concentrate, focus, or control it, but I know what I need to do today.
Which keeps us in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Which keeps us, I think, more connected to self, like you said, and helps us to be more vulnerable. I mean, grieving is like the ultimate vulnerability. I personally think that unless you can grieve some big things that you've been stuffing, because it doesn't go anywhere. It's like toxic waste. You bury it, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
But until you sit with that, it is hard to feel. Like, I think everything, like, I'm very visual. Everything is behind this big solid oak door with like 10 deadbolts on it, right? And you put all the bad shit in there. You're like, all the stuff I don't even want to see again, don't want to feel. But here's the problem. All the good stuff is there too, in terms of really being able to be in the moment and really feel joy, just a whole range of affect. Let yourself get excited, like really excited, to let yourself feel profound sadness with someone, especially in the presence of someone else who's also being vulnerable. I mean, that can feel overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing more magical than that either. So, so all that grief work that you did and really just shedding all of the things that weren't for you.
Yeah.
Sadly. And it's hard, inherently it feels wrong to disconnect from family and loved ones who are technically supposed to be there. We're not supposed to have to do that. That's messed up.
Yeah.
So that's hard. And then we have to grieve that. Like, wait, why do I have to be the one who doesn't get like the support?
I know.
I want my family in the audience. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you, right?
Yeah.
But you went on anyway, and now you help people today. And I can imagine helping them get in touch. Can you speak more about dance and movement and the teaching that you do?
Yeah. I mean, and the main thing that I've done since I was a kid through all this conversation of like what we're talking about and having to deal with every little single detail of being a human in this world. The main thing that has helped me a lot, and many other things have too, but really has been a foundation for me, is dance. So when in doubt, dance it out. But I also say, like, when you're happy, dance. When you're sad, dance. Whatever it is, there has been a thing for me of bringing it to bringing movement. It helps me get out that energy. I have a lot of energy, and if I'm not exercising or moving, I can feel it. I'm like, "Gah." It's like I need that healthy release. And, so this is the thing that when I got into teaching about 8 or 9 years ago that I love, because I'm able to bring in, I didn't plan on it, but when I would discuss especially with 5-6-7 Broadway, I'll focus on that. 5-6-7 Broadway starts with a follow along cardio dance and strength training workout for the first 25 minutes. But I encourage people to connect to music, like really listen to the music, or it depends on the day too. I pay attention to how people are acting, even virtually. And I'm like, okay, we really need to take it up. Like we need to take it up a notch. There's virtually, there's a collective energy. It's strange, but they collectively connect together, and I can tell what kind of day people are having. But I encourage people to connect to the movement, connect to the music. What are you feeling? Or like I create moments where, if it's like, I'm like, we need to yell, like you're doing a fast feed right now. If you need to yell, scream, cry, whatever it is, but allow yourself to verbalize, just make a sound, because just like singing and dancing did for me, there's something magical about it or like sing along. I'm like, sing along at home, do it. But then for Act 2, we do different combinations. So like this Saturday, we're doing We Go Together from Grease, because it's the end of the year. And I break it down. I break the combo down. And I was like, this is a perfect combo to do. Like, we do go together. We've been working hard together on the virtual stage. But I encourage them to go through the movement, the motions. It's not easy. Dance is not always easy. And so I try not to deny the truth. And I think that's kind of the main thing is really being truthful in many different aspects of being human and being okay with that. I see a lot of people that want to just push a button and be the best person they can be, or be the best dancer they can be. And I'm like, and I can be I'm very aware sometimes where I'm like, there's a lot going on. This has nothing to do with me. And I say, like I keep going back to your podcast because it's so good. It's so good. But it's like, I'm sending you so much love. Like you're going to, I know, I hope that you get through this, and just be patient. Right. Like I'm just trying, I just kind of like, okay, send you some love. I hope this works out for you. Cause they'll be like, I can't, and I don't know. And why? And I'm like, okay, not my thing. But again, there's so much magic in movement. And as it helps you to feel, and especially music, when you connect to music. If anybody's listening, if you're ever feeling all those emotions, close your door and put on your favorite song, whether that be a Celine Dion dramatic song or like a rock song or whatever, and just dance. Just dance, tell people not to bother you, and do whatever you want, and just move around. And I'm telling you, it transforms you in a way you're like, ooh, I really had to get out. That I thought, I knew I was a little upset, but I was, and then you feel that weight kind of lifted off of you. So there's still a lot for me to learn as a teacher, for the rest of my life. As a human in this world, I will be learning what it is to have the human experience. But I know for sure through my experience with dance since I was a kid, truly, when in doubt, dance it out, or whatever you are feeling, dance. And it doesn't need to be a professional. It needs just to move and allow yourself to be free in whatever that is. And I'm telling you, it will guide you to wherever you're supposed to be next.
That's amazing. I agree with you. I know over the years that there was a strong correlation to when I was upset that I would want to go out and go dancing, or I would want to stay longer at dance class or whatever it was, right? And I remember my advisor in college and undergrad saying, Miss Baker, can I ask you something? She's like, why do you have 3 damn dance classes? Like, you could be taking other courses, right? And it wasn't my major, but it was, I was between that and something else. I was like, because I have to. I just looked at it, because I have to. Because if I don't, I feel awful, right? And I don't care what I felt like going into that early morning dance class, what you could be doing in college the night before. I felt like $1 million by the time I walked out. And I think years later, as a clinician, I also realized that that's expression. Mm-hmm. That is what Brene Brown calls, pissing and moaning with perspective, in terms of making your outsides match your insides. Whatever you're feeling in here, you are expressing. Mm. And I don't think there's any more genuine way, except for some guttural cry, right? Than to, maybe you're doing that while you're dancing too, but then to express it through dance. And also combined with that, to show your strengths and your creativity. And like you said, being guided. So what a combination of things.
Yeah, it's very much an experience in many different ways, like you said, because there's not only that, you are getting health benefits,
right?
Like not just mentally, you're getting physically health benefits. I always say like endorphins are very real. That I call it dance magic. Like that's dance magic. This is a natural high. Your body is saying thank you for getting your heart rate up. Like, yay, I'm going to give you a little gift. It's called endorphins. And, but again, it's a process, and I really try to just encourage people. It's the arts too. Like you really touched on something of like creativity, because creativity comes in so many different, we're all creative beings, whether we understand it or not. Every single thing that we do, from the way we decorate our home to the way we want to dress ourselves, to we are creative beings. We create. We're constantly creating, whether, or that in many different ways. And so there is something about the creative arts that are really, to me, they are the things, and it's just, history has shown us that they do help societies, and they do help advance the world. And I hope that the United States specifically, we can really start investing into the arts more, because I know for me, it has saved my life. I would not be sitting here talking to you right now if it weren't for the arts.
Wow.
That is the thing that has helped me the most, and I will for sure forever be singing the praises of the creative arts and trying to help in any way that I can get that message out to people that, paint, go to a pottery class. Maybe I'll try a pottery class. Like, there's so many and try different things. That's the number one thing too, is just try it and give yourself a couple tries. Don't be like, oh, well, I just did it once. Like give it a good, maybe 3 times in my opinion. And then be like, okay, it will lead you to the right thing. That's another thing too, for me. It will totally, once you step out, you give it a try, and then you're like, maybe not that. I'm going to try this now. And eventually you find that thing that clicks for you, and you're like, yes, it's here. And then it goes for a moment. And then suddenly you're like, I got to try something new. That fitness for me has always been that, where I'm like, oh, I love this. It doesn't mean I'm always going to do that specific class forever. But then it just helps me just at that time virtually. There's this class that I've been taking, and he's really awesome. But the thing is, it's starting to change. And I can feel that, and that's okay. That's not a bad thing. And I have to acknowledge that and find what motivates, and then find the next thing that motivates me. But that works for me specifically. Some people they're like, this is it. I like it. I'm like, great. If you're doing it, by all means, go for it.
Right. Because when we grow, we outgrow, and our needs change given everything that's going on for us at that moment. What's wild is you can't often see it in the moment in the forest, but I can look back and say, oh, that's why I needed that thing, right? I need to be fed in that way, taught in that way, shaped in that way, because life shows up and shapes you. In the moment, like one of your participants you described earlier being all defensive, like, I can't do this, don't we have our little bitty tantrum? And, and our 5-year-old comes out and says, oh, hell no.
Oh, yeah.
But then in hindsight, you're like, oh, okay. Universe knew what it was up to. It's a good thing because left to my own devices. And I like what you said about just show up for the thing that sounds, that's interesting. It may not be the thing, but it'll take you to the thing. It's kind of like the cruise before New York City. It was a transition. Like Nathaniel Branden in the 60s was the guy who changed my life years ago. I mean, he's gone. His work on self-esteem and personal responsibility kicked my can. And I'm like, oh, and I didn't like it. I'm like, he's full of crap. There's no way, right? And so I did his work, but he talked about like our self-concept is like a membrane. And if I'm holding my arms out like a ballet dancer, what is the name of that, Joseph? What is that?
Like first position.
First position. Thank you. It's been a while.
So we're giving you a visual. It's like holding a beach ball.
Yes. So thank you. That was great. Here's our self-concept. He says, if you try to go for anything outside of that, you're going to sabotage the crap out of it and jump right back in your safety box. And we've all been there. He said, but if you just kind of try some things and expose, I think that we can envelop more and more without even realizing it. Like when you're forced to change something, you're like, oh, crap. But then that's the new way you do things and you only think about it anymore. And so when it comes to trying new things, it might be the thing that seemed like the low-hanging fruit that you could do. The cruise seemed manageable. Like, I can do that. It's only 8 months, right? It's not forever. I'm not moving. And so, but that exposed you and your subconscious got that wonderful experiential data. Like, wow, this is kind of groovy, right?
Yeah.
Then it made you want more and better.
Yeah.
And I think, that beach ball got bigger in your arms. You just expanded your self-concept of not only what you could do, but I add to it.
Yeah.
Brandon's work says what is possible and then also what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is a journey for me. I think I've really had to let go of things too. I think that's why I love creating, because it kind of just allows me to let go, and then a door opens, or I have to really just listen and allow myself to, like you said, be present and all that. The cruise ship did open first position just a little bit more, help me sit with myself for just a little bit longer, which I really needed. And I remember I got hired to do a job before moving to New York. I got hired to do a job in Japan, and I still had a lot going on. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I lived in Tokyo for a month.
Wow.
And it was another I needed to do that prior to moving to New York. New York is a tough city. Know what? It is true. If I can make it there, I can make it anywhere. And there is no lie into that experience. So, I think the thing is that that's why I'm sharing my experience more. I never used to share like this. I used to just, and maybe in class or in a more of like, not necessarily more quote unquote public way, but I do feel that maybe it's because I'm getting older, but like that, what I've experienced on my journey, I think that's the best thing that can help people is if we share our experiences.
Yes.
I don't have all the answers. I know what has worked for me and what I've been through. And I think that I hope that can help someone on maybe if they're experiencing something like that or something near it, because it has been, I have gone to some really, really dark places, like, not knowing if I remember I could never imagine sitting here having when I was closeted and like so terrified and never, like, I would never imagine that I'd be sitting having a conversation like this. And I'm so glad that that's not the case. And I think dance has been the thing that has helped me nudge. It's allowed me to open first position more and more. Dance has been that thing for me that has allowed me to just kind of step out of the bubble and say, oh yeah, that's over there and that's over there, and to really experience life, and to stay somewhat sane. So, it's helped me so much. And I will forever be grateful to what dance has done for my life. And I hope that if anybody's listening, that, if you're inspired to dance. And if you're maybe, or just try it. Even just give it a try. Who knows? That's been the best thing for me. And like you said, is like, yeah, just try it. Who knows? But it's worth a try, and it's stepping out of the comfort zone just a little bit. But I know that's not always the easiest thing. I will say that I deal with, as a teacher myself, I deal with people coming in, and I know that it can take a lot to just get into that room, or even on a virtual thing. I know it can be a lot.
Oh yeah.
So, I want to respect that as well.
Absolutely. It's about feeling safe in the moment. It's about not being judged. It's about feeling stuck between the perfect and the horrible. Like you said, just try it means it's okay either way. We're good.
Yeah.
And then once we can get to that space and generate options, well, I can just I can turn off the computer. I don't have to, if I hate his class, right? I'm kidding. I can take care of myself. Right?
Hey, yeah, it's true.
But I think with the new brain science these days, what I think is, it gets you out of fight and flight.
That's my go-to.
And it gets you into
choice,
right? Of course. Fight, flight, freeze, F it, whatever we do.
Yeah.
And that's all fear, and that's survival. But choice is, I can stay, or I can stay as long as I need to, or I can go and it's okay. Then I can be okay.
Yep.
Needs are met. People are safe. It's all good. Then the hilarious thing is, once we're safe, then we can just be us.
I love it.
And so I'm sure as a teacher, the first order of business is making sure everyone feels safe and accepted.
Absolutely. I mean, that's in people, because and I think that's the thing that I love that 567 Broadway has grown into, is it's all different types of people, all different ages, just coming together. The workout video. So if anybody wants the workout video, it's there's the people in the video are my real students.
Oh, wow.
But that's the thing that is magical about it to me.
Yeah.
That these are real people, and they're all different types of people. And I want to say this, like, it's on Amazon, by the way, so you can get either DVD or digital download, but I got a really negative review on Amazon, but it was really negative towards, unfortunately, in the way they worded it. And it's not about my students, but it's about this person. But they just said, like, I don't like the fact of seeing all these non-professional dancers, and
oh no,
they commented on their body types, and I just was like, yeah. And I was, but I know that it's not about my students; it's about that person.
Yeah.
But the thing that I wanted for the workout video is to show all different types of amazing humans.
Yes.
And I think so much we can be fed, especially, this is me getting my things, but like, and especially with fitness ads or stuff, it's very, you're not good enough, and you must be better. And this will solve the thing, or this will help you lose 20 pounds in 10 days. Like, it's just like all these things that are like, so the workout video for me was really a labor of love, of saying, we are amazing who we are right now. We are amazing that we're all different types of people, and let's show diversity, and let's show how beautiful we are together. And I don't talk about it in the workout video. I just show it. So, but I could see that there's been some emotions that have come up with certain people as that's gone out into the world, but also amazing things of people really acknowledging. They're like, I love that I see someone that looks like me.
Yeah.
In this, and like, it's important. And I know it's as a Mexican American, it is important for me when I was, to see somebody that look like me,
right,
in entertainment or somewhere in a lead position. So I love diversity, and I love showing how beautiful it is for us to be different humans.
Yes.
Living, to support one another.
Wow, I love how you did that. And when you said those are your students, that made sense to me, because the energy and the connection is there with all of you. Like that clicked for me because
Mm-hmm.
I love the video. I think the choreography, first of all, is amazing. It is so easy to follow.
Thank you.
And I was spoiled by years of dance training because when I do dance workouts, of course, I have to critique the hell out of them. Like, what? What do you want me to do? Go this way? That doesn't flow, right? And I feel like I have like 3 left feet. And this one is just several things. One, it's a lot of fun. The music is amazing. And you're right, it takes you somewhere.
Yeah.
And you do a great job of bringing everyone in and helping them feel welcome and just to listen to the music. You already preempt everyone's fears, like, oh my God, are we going to have to do this exercise again? You're like, no, we're not coming back to this. I was like, well, thank you, Jesus, we're not coming back to this because I could feel that one. And I was torching calories, but I didn't even realize it. And the biggest thing is it blew by so fast. I was like, wait, no, it's not over, is it? And that was great. So for me, that was telltale that was just an awesome experience and just loved the vibe and the energy. And you as a person really come across.
Thank you.
And then I could tell also the dancers, their vibe and their essence was there too. And that just, you can't make that stuff up. I mean, that is so real. And then I think as, the viewer, the participant, I immediately felt safe and connected. And so, to finish up today, I want to talk about how it's really hard with people who have trauma, especially women, to express themselves, to feel safe, right? To get back into their body, literally and figuratively. All the meditations for years have said, focus on your body, get back into your body. And that can be terrifying for someone who has trauma.
Yes.
But completely necessary in terms of healing and doing the work that they need to do to get back to who they are.
Yes.
And that's why I think dance can be really powerful because you're just focused on the moment and the movement, right?
Yeah, the moment and the movement. And also, especially because at 567 Broadway, specifically that, it's storytelling. So you're tapping into these characters or, we did This Is Me from The Greatest Showman a couple weeks ago as the main combo. And I really was like, what are you standing for today? I know what I am. And I shared, like being gay and knowing I was gay and sharing some vulnerable things about me, which is, but I'm not as quote unquote vulnerable anymore. I'm like, this is my truth.
Right.
This is me. But I wanted, I was like, connect to that for you. So I do try to create, like you said, an experience. It's like, there's so many different things I could discuss with it, but it's many things from working out to putting on a workout costume, to having a power combo, to having a vulnerable combo, allowing yourself to, like you said, feel your emotions and movement. And I can state for me specifically, I know how hard that is to express. I wanted to numb those for a long time. And dance was the only thing that was truly kind of helping me until dance was like, you need to maybe go to therapy and you also maybe need to, the dance is only going to take you so far. And now you need help and assistance. So I just want to say thank you for all you do and how you help other people to connect to themselves and how you are a stepping stone for people to be the best they can be in the world. It is, listening to your podcast earlier today while folding clothes, I kept yelling joy at my computer, being like, yes, I relate to that. Or like, and it is important because I know that I felt alone for a long time.
Yeah.
Even though I was pushing forward and I was following my dreams in a way, I felt alone. I felt scared. I felt terrified. And I felt there were some times where I didn't know if I was going to make it through.
Right.
Even though from the outside, it might have looked a little different. So I'm grateful for people like you in this world that help people to be the best they can be or to help them move forward, which we need that, especially right now with everything. We need to join together. And so I hope that anybody that is, give dance a try. Maybe it will work for you. Maybe it won't. But, or there's something there that will help. And I know for me, the being creative in many different ways helps me just kind of continue to push me in the right direction to the door I maybe need to pull open.
Right.
That I didn't know I need to pull open. It helps me kind of step towards that door that I didn't know was was there.
Right.
So,
Because you weren't ready to see it yet. We're ready when we're ready and not a nanosecond before, and it's all good.
yes. See, I'm yelling again at the computer. Yes. That is so true.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I think it's so important that first we know we're not crazy and that we make sense and that what we're feeling and experiencing makes sense and what we want to have different makes sense too. And that we can move towards that is very important. I think that we need love and acceptance and belongingness. As a teacher, you create classes where people can hang with each other. And that is powerful for growth and change. We know it's the key to longevity. So how can people find your classes and your 567 Broadway, which is fabulous, by the way, guys? You got to do it. Mary Baker's doing it every morning. It's great.
Yes. Thank you. You can find me at 567broadway.com. And all my social media handles are 567 Broadway. So TikTok, which is a crazy world in itself. Instagram, it's creative. Instagram, 567 Broadway. But if you're like, wait, what? Just go to 567broadway.com and there's all the information there. I do have a YouTube channel as well, and there's free content.
Oh, cool.
To get you started as well. I love YouTube. Love it, love it, love it. So, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And thank you, Mary, so much for having me on. I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here. This was wonderful. And guys, check him out and check out the work that he does. It's really fabulous. Thank you, Joseph. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Yes.
Keep yelling yes at the computer.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to having you back on sometime soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Take care. Well, thank you again, Joseph, for a great conversation, not only about self-care through dance and movement, but I think also about listening to your heart and about authenticity. So make sure you check Joseph out at 567broadway.com and take one of his online classes or download the workout. It's fabulous. I think you'll find that working with Joseph is such a fun experience because he's such a wonderful person to connect with. I think he's here to use his gifts to help us get out there and get healthy inside and out. You can find all the information about Joseph at the show notes at ownitpowercast.com. And also you can go to his website at 567broadway.com and connect with him there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Go out there and express yourself this week. Be as authentic as you can be and hold on to hope. All right, so pay it forward. Keep focusing on you, and I'll see you next time.
We hope you took away some useful insights and tools you can begin using right away. If you did, please leave a positive review and share on your social media. Because could you imagine if everyone in your life really got it together? Remember, own it now, so you can really own it later.